Mason Regional Park Coyotes. City of Irvine, Orange County, California. This video is based on my observations on the park's coyotes from March to mid-August 2025. The title photos you're looking at shows a coyote looking at the park from the urban fringe, taken about 6:15 a.m. This is my sixth video on the natural history of Mason Regional Park, part of my Field Notes series. You can see the previous titles there. This is the first non-bird note. Here's a map you can download from the internet, and I'll show you that in the show notes, the address, showing the main features of Mason Park, especially the western part. I suspect the eastern part has a higher density of coyotes. The stars on this map are approximately where I have encountered coyotes in the park. A star may represent more than one sighting and more than one individual. 3 of the sightings were outside the park boundary, including one individual, that's on the upper left, one individual, entering the park by crossing Harvard Avenue just south of University, right through the traffic. Here's a welcome sign and some of the rules about dogs and wildlife. All dogs must be on leash, no collecting of wildlife, do not feed the waterfowl or other wildlife. There is an information display on the park devoted to coexisting with coyotes that I'll use in this video. Should do close-ups of those. If you spend time at the park, especially in early morning, near the brushy tree area, or you are a resident of the urban fringe around the park, you will eventually see coyotes. This picture of a sunning coyote was taken above the park's amphitheater. Looks like he's enjoying himself or herself. Coyote pups are very playful. Here, through an infrared camera, were as many as 4 pups playing catch. I stopped the video when a walker came on the scene. You'll see her arm sticking out from the tree. This was taken with a Wospot's NV400 night goggles. I'll start that going. See the reflection in their eyes of the infrared. That dark object there is a rock. There's a walking path in front. There were actually 4 pups that were involved in this. And that's when I stopped it. I have more video. Some of the features of coyotes shown on the display. And then what I'll show you is my pictures. A picture from April 15th. And then on May 5th. I have a super zoom camera, which enables me to get close. A Nikon B700. I have a professional interest in the food habits of coyotes and published a paper on the food of a coyote population in San Diego County. Published that paper in 1986. A search of the literature for that paper showed that coyotes are opportunistic predators. Depends on the density of the prey in the area. In San Diego, I found traces of pocket gophers in 64%, insects mostly in 47%, deer in 41%, vegetation, meadow mice, ground squirrels, reptiles, and birds from 1983 to 1984. The rabbit population was pretty low there, and they are not represented very highly. I did see 2 occasions where coyote had prey in its mouth. The first was probably a squirrel. The second, as you see here, was a crow. Whether it was predation or scavenging, it wouldn't surprise me if it was predation. There were a lot of crows on this lawn, and then suddenly I saw the coyote with a crow in his mouth. The coyote was disturbed by a dog walker and grabbed the crow carcass and ran north along the east side of the lake. Later, I could see tufts of feathers in the spot where the coyote was first seen. This is the bottom of the Mason Park Coyote information display. If you live near the park, you probably have heard coyotes' calls, more like howls, especially when loud sirens are in the area. Why do coyotes howl? Well, coyotes and perhaps some local dogs will respond to sirens, and I made a recording using Merlin of coyote calls. The problem is that there's a lot of background noise. I opened the screen door, I ran outside, there are wind chimes and the sirens themselves. I'll have to do some volume control on this segment, July 22nd, 2024, Mason Regional Park. So why do sirens make coyotes howl? From an AI overview, it says coyotes howl at sirens primarily because the siren's high-pitched sound is similar to the vocalizations they use to communicate with each other, including howls and yips. This can trigger a natural instinctual response for them to respond, either to locate family members, establish territory, or potentially even because they perceive the siren as a threat or a strange sound that requires investigation. And it turns out that this is an approved method for counting coyotes, is to play a siren. This is an article from 2013 on coyote land use inside and outside urban parks. And they actually had this coyote howl survey protocol approved by Cleveland State University's Institutional Animal Care and Use Committee. I'll show you this address in the show notes. And I found out something interesting from that article. It indicates, quote, that the alpha pair, the most dominant pair, normally initiates the howling event, with lower ranking individuals joining in at lower rates and frequencies with yips, as heard with coyotes and wolves, and howls heard from different areas represent additional canid families. And those references you can find in the original paper. So then I asked AI, what about dogs? And the response was that dogs howl at sirens for a variety of reasons, including instinctive pack behavior, communication, and discomfort from the loud noise. I thought it was only discomfort from that, about the coyotes. Sirens can sound like other dogs howling, triggering a dog's natural urge to respond or communicate with the pack. The high-pitched and loud nature of sirens can also be physically uncomfortable or stressful for dogs, leading them to howl in response. So 2 very different kind of responses when you ask AI about response to sirens. Now let me show you something about coyotes and walkers. Mason has a lot of people walking early in the morning. What do the people do and what do the coyotes do? And this is a frame from a video, and the next video segments were taken on August 14th, 2025. Here, two walkers, you see two walkers are going by four pups about 7:10 a.m. They're just there. The adult is farther to the left. Now let me show you some video segments. Here's the adult. It's moving away from the lawn to an escape route along a walkway. And finally, one of the youngsters left the other four, and I caught him going. He was looking to the right because there are two people walking a dog coming toward them. So that's one of the young. But they're in no hurry, at least the ones that are still on the lawn. As you can see, there's the dog. They're still there, three of them. And then the second one, and this occurred within a short period of time, then joined the parent and its sibling. The third one, and finally the fourth one. Did I count that right? So there were 5 of them all together. This is from the information board at Mason Regional Park. If you see a coyote, what should you do? Well, first of all, you want to keep your pets safe. Some people are not leashing their dogs, and these are small dogs. Some of them have these really long leashes, and coyotes can be found at any time of the day. They are most active at night and early morning and late evening, but you're putting your pets at risk, and you're putting the coyote at risk too. Never feed them. Feeding habituates them to humans, and habituation to humans leads to negative interactions. Get reported if you want to, and this is more to perhaps alert the community. Maybe somebody's feeding coyotes, doesn't know that they're doing damage. And then they suggest to get big and loud. Stand tall with your arms up. Yell at the coyote. Keep children close to you. Stand your ground. Let me show you what happens when you stand your ground. So this happened on June 4th at 7:43 in the morning. This is again by the amphitheater. The coyote crossed the walking path in front of me and stopped. And I was pretty much stopped until finally it recognized me. And then as an animal behaviorist, which I am, I was curious, what was it going to do? What was I going to do? So I remained in place, recording the animal's subsequent activity. Ever been in a staring contest with a coyote? Let's see. This camera is being handheld, by the way. It is a super zoom camera. I'm not quite sure how close I am to it. You see that the coyote's tail is not as bushy as you saw it before in other pictures. trying to avoid eye contact, but will make eye contact with me, although I'm looking through the camera. The ears tend to be pointed toward me. In fact, when it's going to run into the woods, the ears, well, you'll see what its ears do. Little hiccups, it looks like. It's always listening to me. The city of Irvine has produced for an online website a Coyote bulletin. If you want to know how they handle people's concerns about coyotes, please go to that bulletin. I will show you one of the areas that they highlighted. It says there are many steps that can be taken to protect you and your property from nuisance wildlife, to include coyotes. Don't feed them. Make them difficult to get to your cats and small dogs. Don't let them outdoor at night. Don't feed pets. Feed pets indoors. Store trash in covered containers. Enclose the bottoms of porches and desks. You go right down the list. Keep your property well lit at night. Put your trash out the morning of pickup, not the night before. And it goes down. Keep small children under close adult supervision at all times. The board, the information board, has this about killing coyotes. Doesn't work. And you can see that there's an increase in pests, rodent populations, and in mason, squirrel populations probably, and rabbits as well. They should be prey items. They serve as a predator on these pests that most people think of as pests. They keep wildlife populations in balance. And then they're just trying to survive with less habitat. If you did remove them, reproduction rates tend to increase, and you get coyotes from other areas will replace the ones removed. And removing coyotes naturally leads to more coyotes. So the display says, keep me wild, feeding wildlife is dead wrong. And then there's the don't do this, these are not pets. These are wild animals. And they emphasize the coexistence with coyotes. And I want to show you this quote. This was from a proceedings on Wildlife Damage Management Conference in 2007, in which they discussed the history of urban coyote problems. Interesting paper, and I think that is available for free online. And I thought this quote was an interesting one, that wildlife management efforts is the easy part. It's humans that are difficult. This has been another of my JDW talks. I have YouTube talks on genealogy topics, census, Ellis Island, immigration, and naturalization. In terms of natural history topics, I have a number of virtual birding field trips, birding optics, California birds, Mason Park nature notes, which I'm having a lot of fun with, and then some of my own interests like novelty zithers, biology songs, and I put together, disassembled an IKEA daybed, which has gotten a large number of people watching that YouTube. So go out and observe nature. Don't interfere with it. You're just, it's really dangerous to the coyotes if you do not follow the rules. Bye-bye.